I am rolling. Beep. Hell yes, dear listener. The HSP boys are back in the saddle once again for episode number 124. Thank you so much for saddling up with us. 2 separate continents, 2 separate countries, 2 separate adult beverages just to make it fair, and 2 separate cups of coffee fee. 2 separate fact shamings, 2 separate mansplainings, 2 separate trails to the same inevitable conclusion. 124 episodes from the Hellions of the Right, dear listener. 124 is the sum of 8 consecutive prime numbers. 5 plus 7 plus 11 plus 13 plus 17 plus 19 plus 23 plus 29 equals 124. Don't believe me? Check it out. The Fiat 124 model, particularly the Fiat 124 Spider, which is a dope-ass sports car. But none of this really matters right now, dear listener. And why is that? Because the trail grows longer each and every single week. And 124 means we have 124 miles to ride on this trail right here, right now. So let's not tarry. Let's saddle up and ride into episode number 124, which is in the house presently. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. Send us feedback at zero-gravity-media.com. Our email server is still working, even though we're not updating the website right now. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and TuneIn. All 4 under Zero Gravity Media. Don't bother yourself with Podbean, dear listener. If you listen to the show, you know all about that. Most importantly, right now, right here, find us right here on YouTube. Search for Zero Gravity Media and look for our God Tier Zero G logo and come join us in the chat. The HSP boys are now on Rumble. You can find us on rumble.com/Zero Gravity Media or just search for Zero Gravity Media on Rumble. Both work equally well. All right, dear listener, our most aspirational platform of the moment right now is Locals, and things are going very well on Locals. Find us there at zerogravitymedia.locals.com. Come join our community, and we're burgeoning right there, right now. And if you'd like to contribute to the show, you can do it through Locals and give Dave Rubin his cut and all that kind of stuff. Leave us some feedback using the contact form at our website, zero-gravity-media.com/contact. All right, dear listener. Each episode, Luke and I like to call out one city. And this city, the magic of this city, is the city with the most HSP listens during the previous week. So without any further ado, all right, dear listener. Good news this week. Been on the trail for a long time, but for the very first time at the front of this posse, we've got Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Chapel Hill. What is going on? Welcome to the front. First place, dear listener. Now, Chapel Hill, you might not believe this, but I know your town very, very well. I've been to the Cat's Cradle so many times, I can't even count. Man, I've seen the Rev there. I've seen Shack Shakers there. I've seen so many bands there. It's not even funny. 16 Horsepower, I saw them there. So Chapel Hill, I love your town very much. Lovely, lovely place. And thank you so very much. Luke and I hope to do you proud this week, and we are certain that we will. You have found the right one. You believe that. Luke, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Good, dude. How are you doing?
All right. So I came up too loud on that, didn't I? Yeah, that's better. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, man, despite seeming like not that much going on this week, well, a hell of a lot went on this week, man. So, yeah. And dear listener, we've got interesting audio for audio break for you this week. You're going to hate it, but it's got to be done anyway. And what's on your mind, man?
What's the audio?
I'm going to play Rachel Maddow's show from last night, squawking about the Arizona recount. Well, not recount as it is. It's a forensic audit. So, yeah, it's good. And I might even grab bag it a little bit if I get triggered,
Which I'm sure you will, for sure.
I will get triggered. Yeah, I will. And, it's interesting because it is so easy to refute. So easy to refute. The propaganda machine right now is just off the rails, man. So.
See, again, like, week after week after week, I just don't know about it because I don't have American TV here. So
yeah.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
With that,
I do. I understand. So, oh man, I'm froze. But Sorry about that, dear listener. I have been having internet blitz like you were having last weekend, and I did last weekend too. I have been this week as well. Like shit will just cut off all of a sudden. Strange, man. Strange. So probably under surveillance, you know. So
Probably, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. Things
um,
on this side of the pond are, Corona shit still going on here, lockdowns, all that bullshit. We're still trying to press forward with everything that we're working on and trying to live life as best we can. So, given the circumstances.
Yeah, it's got to end sometime, man. It really does,
dude.
And
I'm to the point. I don't know that it's ever going to end in Europe.
maybe.
I don't know that it will, because this disease is endemic. It's not going away. Even everyone's obsessing, and I'm so sick of this the vaccine. It's like I have friends in America like messaging, "Hey man, what's going on? I just got the vaccine. How are you?" I'm like,
yeah,
I don't give a shit. What like what is it? Like, we can have a conversation about what each other are up to without having to talk about our vaccination schedules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
But yeah, it's I don't know that it's ever going away, man. It's endemic. It's going to be here. And their standards are such that there's no way they can ever suppress this or get it down to some what they would regard as acceptable level. And acceptable level is basically literally statistical variation, statistical margin of error. So I don't know that it's ever going away here in Germany. At this point, I don't know if you've heard about this, but Merkel is trying to consolidate powers.
Yeah,
here.
I did.
So she has introduced legislation to consolidate powers so that the individual states here in Germany cannot determine what they can do with respect to pandemics. So she wants to through dictate tell the states what they can and can't do. It's absolutely outrageous. They're consolidating power. And at this point, I am convinced someone has to convince me that they aren't trying to actively spread the disease here, because I don't know if I can post this in the chat. No, you can't post pictures in the chat, but I was in town the other day on Hauptstrasse. Hauptstrasse is German for Main Street. So this would have been the historical downtown in the large city, which we lived nearby. And I was walking down, and square in the middle of Hauptstrasse, in the middle of this historic downtown, is a testing center. But here's the thing. Just, 50 yards away, there's restaurants and stuff. They're all shut down. But they allowed a food cart to be opened directly in front of the testing center. And the testing center is like in the back of this little square in this open area where everyone sits to eat. And it's squarely in the middle of the most highly trafficked pedestrian thoroughfare in the entire city. So anybody who thinks they have corona is riding public transportation, walking through crowds, squeezing by people who are eating, walking by everybody who's sitting around eating, and then getting their test.
Strange, man. I will say, yeah.
And then now they've reintroduced that, if you go to the grocery store, every single person has to have a cart. So if you have a family of 5, you have to get 5 carts, and everybody has to push their own cart into the store. Here's the catch: with 0 sanitization standards in place. So people are dropping carts off, and then every single person walking in has to get a cart.
No. I thought that they did have sanitization standards
in
Germany.
Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. Every single. I've gotten sick. I've lived in Germany almost 5 years now. I've gotten sick twice since I've lived here, and both times were hours after grocery shopping and touching a cart. After that, and this is long before Corona, I started sanitizing the carts before using them, and I've never gotten sick since.
I do now.
That one little measure that I took, which is to sanitize the cart handle before using it for the grocery cart. I've never gotten sick since.
Yeah.
And now they force everybody to use a cart. Every single person that walks in has to have a cart or you're not allowed in. And none of them are sanitized. So yeah, dude, it is absolute insanity. And now they've also squeezed the hours down. So now the grocery stores have to close at 9.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So, yeah. So it's like, dude, it's absolute fucking insanity. Like if somebody were to come to me and say, Luke, how can we more efficiently spread the disease? I would literally do what the German government is doing right now. I'd say, let's have zero sanitization standards. Let's force everybody to touch the same things to maximize surface transmission. And then let's shrink down the hours to concentrate the number of people that are standing around and squeezing through. I would literally do that. Like my workplace, for example, it's 3 floors. Okay. We have a coffee maker on each floor. Well, in the unending brilliance of the German government, they've now said that we can only have 1 coffee maker for the whole building. So like, if you think about it on a spectrum, like the most ideal situation would be every single person has their own coffee maker in their office, right? That would be the safest situation, right? I put that in air quotes because it's all bullshit anyways, right? And then the most risky would be you all share 1, right? We had 3. So like the next best thing would be, okay, well, if not every person can have their own coffee maker, then let's have each floor have their own coffee maker. Well, we had that. Then the worst case scenario would be the opposite end of the spectrum, which is the whole building uses the same coffee maker, touching it, standing there, using it. And it's like all in the name of Corona, dude. Like somebody has to convince me that at this point, it's not on purpose. And also given the fact that Merkel is now using this to consolidate power.
He certainly is.
Which has not happened since, dare I say, Hitler. But it's true. He consolidated power. It hasn't happened since then. Dude, this shit is out of control here in Europe. It's fucking out of control. It is a hellish nightmare in terms of the lockdowns. I don't think we're ever going to come out of it at this point. It's endemic. Their standards are such that it's impossible for us. They have to change their standards or we're never coming out of the lockdowns. There's no in between. They have to change the standards or we're never coming out of lockdowns, because even if you get vaccinated, you can still test positive. You can still transmit it. You can still get it. You can still get sick from it. So
yeah, we just learned this morning that half of the new cases that we've had since the vaccines rolled out are people who have been vaccinated. Over half are, and I can prove that. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the vaccine doesn't claim that you can't get it. It basically they don't even claim that you're not going to get sick from it. They just say it's just going to prevent you from dying from it. That's all they're really claiming. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like really what it is, as we detailed with Naomi Wolf's clip last week, it's a social passport when you get right down to it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
A social passport. Nothing more. So
I'm convinced Europe is never coming out of lockdowns for the foreseeable future. I don't think in my lifetime. I think that we're full on mask forever. I think that they've now used this to have a complete authoritarian fascist takeover of every facet of life here in Europe, and they've put standards into place which are impossible to achieve. And I'm convinced that that's by design. They've ramped up testing, and then they're surprised when, oh my God, cases increase because they ramped up testing. And they're doing things which make absolutely no sense at all and are making the things worse. They're exacerbating the problem. And I'm convinced that at this point, at least here in Europe, it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Authoritarianism, totalitarianism, fascism, all of it, socialism. Basically, anything which has dictatorial control over your life can manifest through any number of vectors. It can manifest through religion. It can manifest through ideology. And now for the first time in our lifetimes, and first time possibly ever of which I'm aware, it's now manifesting through fear-mongering about a disease. So, I'm convinced Europe, like, we're making the best of it while we're here. But I'm convinced that this is a permanent fixture. I don't see masks going away. Again, they have to accept that they have to change their standards, or this is never going away. That's it.
And there's another aspect I see to this as well. You could be right about this. Is the social enforcement, right? It's Texas opened up legally. Okay. But what's happening is, the out was given for, of course, private businesses can require masks, require vaccines, do whatever they want to do. Okay. Of course, they can do that. Right. So we are already cleaving into the maskless versus the mask crowd. The mask wars are now breaking businesses apart and breaking society apart. I mean, I've been mask shamed just in the previous week outdoors. Right. And
dude, what do you say when you get mask shamed?
Sorry, I forgot it. That's usually what I say. Sorry, I forgot it. You're welcome to go over there. You know what I mean?
Dude, this is actually like, I'm actually really bummed I'm not in the States right now because dude, you know me, I have a loose tongue. I would fucking annihilate anybody who tries to mask shame. I would say, I'd say, shut the fuck up and get away from me. And I'm upset about the fact that I'm not there to do that.
Yeah, it's like to me, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. So,
why not, man?
I just don't want to.
They think it's worth it,
and I don't want to. So
they think it's worth it to be a fucking bitch, Karen, to you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
So it's worth it for you to, dude. I mean, you got to fight these motherfuckers one by one. Yeah,
well, it's not my fight. So
I would do. I don't know, man. I'm upset about the fact that I don't get to just annihilate people that try to mask shame me.
Yeah,
I wish I would get
goes on. I can tell you for sure. So
yeah, I know. I hear it from my mom and my family and everybody, and I'm just like, why the fuck? Why are people allowing this to go on? I would just tell them, go fuck yourself and cross the street.
Yeah. I have done that before. I didn't put it in those terms, but it was something like, you need to mind your own business. We're outside, But I don't know. It's just so tiresome. I just don't involve myself,
I get that it's uncomfortable and it's not a savory thing to do. I get that. I don't know. For me personally, it's just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I think in another lifetime, I should have been like a sheriff or something like this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, there's another interesting thing that came out this week, and there was a Rasmussen poll. And dear listener, you know about Scott Rasmussen. If he puts polls out, they are accurate, deadly accurate. Over 75% of people in the United States want the jab. Slightly south of 25% don't want the jab. Okay. That is an interesting statistic, right? So everybody's going to get the jab. Everybody's going to get it. And there will be social consequences for those who decide not to. I'm not advising one way or the other, dear listener. That's your decision about what you want to do with your health. Entirely your decision.
Did they by chance? I think there's an option I think is mysteriously missing here, which is indifference.
Yeah, it was an A/B question. Yeah,
yeah. Because I'm frankly, me personally, I'm indifferent. I don't really give a shit about it. Like for the same reason I don't even think about the flu shot. I don't even, it doesn't even cross my mind. It never has. Never in my life has it even crossed my mind to get the flu shot. And it's the same thing with Corona. Like if everybody around me is getting the flu, I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, maybe I should go get the flu shot. But it doesn't happen. People just get sick and then they're better. You know?
Yeah.
So like, I don't give a shit. It's not that I don't want it, but it's not that I feel like I need it either. So this is another thing that I think is missing from this conversation. I think this is very American in the sense, and in America, it's always, Americans are very A/B in their mentality. There's no room for indifference.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
It's us versus them. It's A versus B. It's you want the jab or you're against getting the jab. There's no room for like apathy or indifference. And frankly, I'm just apathetic towards the whole thing. I'm just like, whatever. If I have to, I will, but I really don't feel like I need to. But I don't have this like, foaming at the mouth attitude towards not getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I totally do. So it's perfectly rational. So yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been also vaccine shamed this week.
Have you really?
By my landlord. Yeah.
No shit. Yeah. By your landlord. What did he say?
He asked me if I'd gotten the jab, and I said no. And he was like, "Are you one of these crazy people who are not going to get the shot?" And I was like, "Are you saying to me that you're not going to let me stay in your property if I don't get the shot? Is that what you're saying?" And he was like, "No. That's not what I'm saying." And I was like, first of all, I'm pretty sure I've already had it.
Dude. I was thinking about this. Someone vaccine shamed my mom, and I called my mom back, and this is what I told her. I mean, you have to adjust this depending your response. You have to adjust your response depending on if it's male or female, but just go super personal. So if somebody's like, "Oh, have you gotten the vaccine?" and you don't really know them, you're not like on that level of conversation with them. Be like, well, before I answer that, how did your last gynecologist appointment go?
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, or your landlord, if you said that, be like, "Oh, hey, have you gotten a colonoscopy? You're kind of that age where you really need something shoved up your ass and have a doctor look at it. And hey, when you get that done, let's talk about it. I want to know how the results went, how your asshole looks. And then maybe after that, we can talk about, your personal religion and how much money you make.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's one way to do it.
Since we're talking about our medical history, and by the way, you should have told your landlord it's not even fucking legal for him to be asking you that question. So it's just like we're in this world where now strangers are asking each other about their medical history. It's not even fucking legal, especially something in a contractual relationship like landlord and tenant. That's outrageous, dude. Like
it was outrageous.
I wish I were in the States, dude. I would be fucking everybody up, and I'm like sad and disappointed that I'm not able to do that because everybody in Europe is too much of a pussy to actually do that.
Well, maybe you will be soon enough. But just not my fight, man. But in defense of my landlord, he and I are kind of friends as well. You know what I mean? Like we have a contractual relationship. There's no doubt about that. I was really stunned when he asked me that question. You know what I mean? And I was just I know. I was really stunned when he asked me that question. And but I expect this to increase. I expect this it's going to be another system of social shaming is what do you have the vaccine? Oh my God. Well, we can't go to dinner then. It's going to be that kind of thing. Right. So
yeah. How my mom, how they said it to my mom is my mom wasn't wearing a mask. And this lady was like, "Do you have the vaccine?" And mom's like, "No." And she's like, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" And I just told my mom, I was like, next time somebody says that, ask them about the fucking gynecologist appointment they had last. Hey, how does your vag look? Healthy? Little, how's it? Seriously, dude. If they want to talk medical history, let's air it all out.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
Figuratively. And literally.
And literally. So
yeah.
No, but I notice you are correct about the States. I do notice it increasing in frequency. No doubt about it. It really is. More and more people feel totally at liberty to ask your personal business now. They're totally at liberty just to ask you whatever they want about the vaccine. Why aren't you wearing a mask? Or, all this kind of crap. You know what I mean? So
yeah, dude. Dear listener, do not let people get away with this shit. Like, please, I'm not there, so I can't do it. You need to do it on my behalf. Shame these people for even thinking that for even having the audacity to ask you personal medical questions.
It is audacious. Yeah.
It's outrageous. It is outrageous.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had sex? Do you ever have homosexual thoughts?
Yeah.
Like, ask them these questions in response. And just to illustrate, like, how fucking rude and absurd it is to be asking somebody about their medical history, about their medical past. And if it's a contractual relationship, like employer-employee, landlord-tenant, it's not even their fucking legal right to ask you that shit. Don't let them get away with this. It's outrageous. Oh, dude. Sorry, man. I'm a little animated tonight. I'm a little on fire.
That's good. It's good, man. It also is now being institutionalized. I suppose you heard the news that UC and Cal State are requiring all students, faculty, and staff to get the jab in order to attend campus. Yeah. Straight up. Yeah. So Texas has refused that, but California is going to go there.
I mean, totally unsurprising.
Yeah. Mike jumps in. Jab has and will harm an unimaginable. Sorry, Mike. It's not. I've got light in my eye. Lots coming out this week about the shot messing with menstrual cycles. That is a fact. Miscarriages, possible sterilization through proteins affecting placenta. That is absolutely true. And I have read a lot of studies to that effect, and they are harrowing, right? Like this is going to have permanent reproductive effects on women. It is stunning. And you're right, Mike. This stuff is starting to come out, and it's going to be shocking when it comes out. It is going to be absolutely shocking. So yeah. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, if it comes out. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff where like men becoming sterile, but I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, like vaccines. Here's the thing: it's like, yes, this happens with vaccines, and there's, there. I don't know the statistics behind like how prevalent this is with this vaccine, but what I do know is like, for example, the shingles vaccine took decades.
It did
to develop, and
Yep.
there's still side effects from it.
Yep.
I mean, they did this in a year. Who knows what the long-term effects are? But the thing is, for me, the more important thing is it's all over virtually nothing. If you have some sort of if you have like, if you're morbidly obese, if you have pre-existing conditions, if you have any of this stuff, then yeah, like maybe be a little concerned. But if not, it's like, I don't remember the statistic. I read a statistic one time where it's like, in nations where like obesity is below 40% or something like this, like the corona death rate, which is the real statistic. Who gives a shit about infection rates? What you're after is the case fatality. It's called the CFR case fatality rate. That's the only number that really matters, is case fatality rate. That drops like to something which is like statistically insignificant. When you're thinking about, the gene therapy and operating system, not your conventional vax. That's true.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely new. I understand there to be some actual advantages to it as well. So that can actually be a good thing, but it's just new technology. Let's not be Luddites over here either. So it's new technology. It can be a good thing. For example, they can do a much better job of standardizing the vaccine across doses as they're administered, because they're essentially lab created. They're not naturally created, which
that's right.
Again, can be a good thing because you can standardize it. But yes, it is new technology. They shoved it through the system, and who knows what the long-term effects are going to be from it. But again, going back to my original point, it's all over virtually nothing unless you are morbidly obese or have some sort of condition which puts you uniquely at risk. For the general population, it's not that. It's not even worth fucking with. It's not even worth thinking about these things for the general population. Just go live your life. You're fine. You're gonna be fine. Just go live your life. If you get sick, you get sick. A guy my age who's otherwise pretty healthy got sick, and I think it took him like 2 months to recover, but he recovered, and then I know other people most people I know don't even know they had it. They're just, whatever. Anyways, yeah. So I don't know. I just, dude, it's the whole I voted phenomenon. It's like, it's like we're going to see these like people walking around wearing stickers like, I got vaccinated.
Yeah. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Yeah.
Same bullshit,
And the way I see it going now, I really hope that, I don't want to make this prediction because I hope I'm wrong about this, but with 75 point something to 24.6, about like that, in favor of the vaccination, against vaccination, there is more than enough political will to shut the people who are anti-vax out of society forever. There is more than enough asked to do that. And that is a terrifying thought. And the way I see these people becoming emboldened, I find it a possibility that could happen. You know what I mean? And that's a scary thing, man. That's a scary thing. So,
I mean, like when you think about it on its face, it's like, because I can already see people like shrieking when they hear this, going like, "It's just a vaccine, bro. It's just a vaccine, bro. Really? That's a terrifying thought. It's just a vaccine, bro." It's the principle behind the matter. If somebody can, if you can be essentially coerced into injecting your body into chemicals that you don't really know what they're going to actually do to you at the end of the day. If you can be coerced into doing that, this is fucking with your body. Yeah. This is like the one thing that you have.
Yeah.
What else can they do? It's the principle behind the matter. It's akin to, I hear people like, I was thinking about it this week, Russ. It's like, it's the same thing with like STDs. Like, if you think the government has a right to force you to get vaccinated, if you think the government has a right to shut down businesses, if you think the government has a right to lock you in your home, essentially turning you into a prisoner of your own home, then you also think the government has a right to tell you that you can't have sex until we develop a cure for herpes. It's the same thing.
Pretty much, yeah, it is.
How do you deal? How does the government deal with something like an STD, herpes, AIDS, etc.? How do they deal with that? They say if you are knowingly spreading it, then you can be criminally prosecuted. If you are concerned about getting it, be responsible. That's it.
Yeah.
Take responsibility
for
your own life.
Yeah.
If you are worried about getting, it's and the same thing applies to Corona. If you are worried about getting Corona, be responsible.
Be responsible. Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, like I said, I'm not going to bars right now. I'm not willing to jump on an airplane right now. Am I terrified of the virus or anything like that? No, but that seems the responsible thing to do because I don't want to infect people that are in my regular circle. So, you know, it's better to mitigate risks for infection, you know? But, you know, that said, I don't know, man. I don't know them. Well, I'm not going to go there. So, yeah.
Well, come on, man. Go there. Come on. Audience wants, you can't say that and then not let the audience in on what you're thinking.
I don't know that I'm not one of those people that is one of the 75% that is wanting to run out and get the shot. I'll just put it that way. I'm really not wanting to get the jab. So yeah,
dude, that's fine. Why wouldn't you feel comfortable saying that?
Yeah, because you get labeled, man. And
dude, I don't give a fuck, man. I don't know. I think it's that I think
not my fight, man.
Yeah, I think it's that I've been in Europe and I'm so fucking over it. It's like you guys, you know, y'all in America are otherwise living pretty normal lives. It's like you have to deal with a little mask bullshit here and there. It's like here, fucking life is just still ground to a halt.
Yeah.
You know, I am over it. I've been over it for 6 months, but now I am just like, I just do not give a fuck. And I'm like, anybody who wants to say some shit to me, I don't give a fuck about hurting their feelings. In fact, I want to hurt their feelings as much as I can so they shut the fuck up and go away because I don't want to hear their voice ever again.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. So, you may have inspired me, man. Maybe I'll get riled up about it, but right now I'm ultimately not confrontational about it. So I don't know. Again, maybe you've convinced me, but
I mean, I don't. If I were in your shoes, I don't know that I'd be convinced. If I could otherwise just live my life and not have to fuck with it too much, and you know, have some dipshit.
That is what it should be. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it should be. So
yeah. Yeah. Mike Ivy says again, I do not consent. My body, my choice. Right. Be careful. Be careful with that. I don't generally like this line of argumentation because if you're not on board with abortion, they're going to throw it right back in your face. So,
yeah, I think it's funny. I think it's meaning to be funny. So,
no, I see people using this line of argumentation all the time online, and they're trying to draw out hypocrisy. But you have to be careful when you draw hypocrisy because you have to make sure your premises are on board. So, like, if you're pro-choice, 100% use that line of argumentation. If you're not pro-choice, you're setting yourself a trap. You're setting a trap for yourself. Yeah.
So, well, you know, this is completely political now. It's going to get more so. It's going to get a lot more social as well as political. It's 10 toes, 10 fingers, my body. That's right, Mike. Yeah. So anyway, they Luke, I don't know if you've heard this, but they first of all, a lot of information is starting to come out that really kind of exposes Dr. Fauci as being one of the creators of the virus by funding the Wuhan lab itself, right? It is all but proven that the virus came from the Wuhan lab, okay? And Dr. Fauci's fingers are all over it. And it's a 1-2 punch from Dr. Fauci here because he's also invested in remdesivir and Moderna. Well, to that end, the Joe Biden administration just this week has passed an executive order where it is now illegal to say the words China virus or Wuhan virus. It is illegal to do that. This is also contained in the anti-Asian hate bill that just passed the Senate, that it's illegal to say China virus, Wuhan virus. And I'm not kidding, man. So they're taking this opportunity to regulate language, thereby not hoping definitely regulating thought. Just the same way when you discuss things about the election. I was about to pull up Bob Ross, but I've got it queued up if we need it. So just let me know if you need it, man.
But when they say illegal to say it, what does that mean exactly?
I believe they categorized it as hate speech. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, that'll get taken straight up to Supreme Court.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. If they try to do anything with that, all that does is just lend credence to tech platforms to silence people. That's all.
Yeah.
That's
all.
That's all it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
It doesn't mean you're going to get, a ticket dropped in the mail if you're,
right.
on a phone call and use Chinese virus,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I got a speeding camera ticket. Amidst all of this, the corona and all this shit, and we're supposed to be in this together, guys. We're all in this together. We have to be one, and we're all in this together. And the German government, and their endless generosity, sent me a speeding camera ticket with a 19% VAT tax added onto it.
Wow.
Value-added tax. I guess I added value to society by speeding, and therefore I got charged 19% VAT tax on a speeding ticket.
Crazy, man. So yeah, that is just crazy. So
yeah, the generosity of the German government, man.
Oh, I know, man.
European governments, I should say. I love it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And and paying all these taxes so that one day I'll be poor enough to retire in Romania.
yeah. Which doesn't sound half bad, by the way. So yeah,
I don't know. I got a lot of bears down there.
Yeah.
There's a word. The Germans, they came up with a word for retirement poverty.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Shit, I don't know what it is in German.
Okay,
but yeah, they invented a word called retirement poverty, and the word exists because Germans are retiring so like their government offered basically their version of Social Security. Nobody here saves money. Nobody has shit. Mm-hmm. Everybody here is like living paycheck to paycheck because they all just, first of all, don't make a lot of money, but then relative to what they're being taxed and so forth. Right. And then by the time they retire, they don't have anything in savings because of course they expect the German government to pay for them to retire. But what the German government gives them after a lifetime of paying taxes is so little that they've created this word called retirement poverty. And now Germans are retiring over to Eastern Europe because that's the only place they can afford to live and retire.
Yeah, I knew about this. Yeah. There for a while, it was like Costa Rica and all these places, but then Costa Rica started getting expensive. So Germans stopped going there, and they started going to Eastern Europe. Yeah, I knew about this. Yeah. It's an interesting phenomenon. Yeah.
It's called retirement poverty.
Yeah. So
congratulations, off to Eastern Europe with you.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for the money, bro.
Yeah. Well, just on a sidebar on this topic, dear listener, I just want to call one thing out. I've got a source for it. Not necessarily going to read it, but because it's just true. Luke was talking about these EOs and maybe this legislation that passed the Senate going up to the Supreme Court. I think that's correct. Dear listener, we need to keep our eyes on ACB right now, on Amy Coney Barrett. She just signed a $2 million book deal this week, okay? That, to me, is suspicious. The article I have quoted it as eye-raising. Yeah, it is a little bit eye-raising because, dear listener, it's an open secret that book deals are usually, not always, and not even usually, but sometimes they are political payoffs, okay? And ACB is going to write a book about how to keep from injecting your opinions into the decisions you make on the bench. $2 million. Okay. Is that even ethical? It's been done before. Clarence Thomas did it. Sure. I guess probably it is ethical. Right. But we need to keep our eyes on that. And the way we do this is in the pudding, dear listener. We need to watch very carefully how ACB decides going forward. It's very important that we notice, we document, and we hold their feet to the fire. So just a side note on that. So we'll see what goes on with that. So, yeah.
By the way, the word for retirement poverty, I found it. It's Ruhestandsarmut, which is all one word, which means Ruhe is sort of like quiet, silence. Stand is standing, and then Armut is poverty.
Yeah.
So it's
cool word.
Ruhish. Yeah. German language has a lot of interesting words. It's a building language. They build words. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Which can lead to a lot of huge, long words.
Yeah, it can. There are a few of those. So yeah. German's hard, man. I'm not gonna play. It is. It's hard. So yeah.
Way harder than Spanish, man. I mean, I spoke, a little bit. I after a couple of years in Texas Roadhouse College Station, I'd learned a good bit of Spanish, and I picked it up quite easily. But German, fuck, dude, it's it's either immersion or suffering trying to learn it. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
Immersion. It's like 3 months immersion classes. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're going to spend years like being tortured with learning the language.
Yeah. Totally, man. So, oh damn it, it's about to rain again. So,
dude, I heard you. I saw. Well, first of all, man, y'all got iced out. Then my mom sends me this picture of this huge hail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess there's a huge hailstorm. Now y'all. Then yesterday morning, or maybe it was this morning. For some reason, for College Station, AccuWeather still sends me weather alerts for College Station. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but apparently there was a tornado watch this morning in College Station.
Yeah, I think I heard that. Yeah, there were several, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
So y'all are just getting BTFO'd left and right.
Yeah. Climate change, climate change. It's an emergency. We have to change it now. So yeah. Speaking of, man, that's one of my topics I got here in the stack. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Get this shit, man, since we're talking about it. Oh man, I've got so much show prep. All right, I've got a gateway piece here. I'm going to take it from the lead. The title is Biden's Climate Requirements. Cut 90% of red meat from diet. Americans can only eat one burger per month. Take it from the lead. It goes thus. Joe Biden on Friday pledged to cut the U.S.'s carbon emissions at least 50% by 2030. Some of the climate requirements are going to mean big changes for Americans. Biden's ambitious plan could mean Americans will be forced to cut 90% of red meat from their diets, which equates to about one average-size hamburger per month. Americans may also be forced to purchase a $55,000 electric vehicle under Biden's Marxist climate plan. And, I find the timing of this, the climate summit that they had this week that was virtual, and Biden's dumbass wore a mask in it. Oh, God, it was just a national disgrace, a humiliation, right? A virtual summit, dear listener, and Biden shows up in a mask. What a virtue signal. Oh, my God. And anyways, I find all of this really curious after the timing of the Project Veritas drops last week, where what's his name, that technical director at CNN, came out and said the next thing that we're going for now that we can't burn on Trump is we're going for climate emergency. Well, it started this week, and we're about to see some changes. And oh man, and what was it you said? You mentioned it last week, Luke. France stopped all of their domestic air flights. Is that what it was?
Any short haul domestic flight which can be made in France, which can be made in under 2.5 hours on a train.
It's crazy, man.
Is now illegal. It's just straight up illegal.
It's crazy. It's just crazy, man. So, yeah. This is going to be the hype. Get ready for it, dear listener. What was that? Sorry, Luke.
Oh, no. I was going to say, I mean, if it results in like more oceanic ships coming online, not too dissatisfied with that result, because I'm like big on cruising. They're not going to allow that because of Corona.
Yeah, those got to go, man.
Yeah.
Those got to go.
This is, dear listener, they are using everything, the climate, disease, all this. They're using everything to take over every facet of life. And they're not stopping. They're like Nietzschean in this respect. They'll just trample over corpses in an attempt to achieve their ends. They just don't care.
Yeah.
They all their premises are based on bad things.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And man, it's dizzying the amount of success that they're having at the moment with all this crap, man. They really are. They're really getting the agenda done. The Obama's third term agenda when you get right down to it. So yeah.
Yeah, dude. You asked me after the show, in our post show call, you told me that I've become like really disenchanted with the right. And this is the reason. It's because they are fucking useless.
Yeah.
The right is.
Yeah.
What are they doing? Just standing around with their dick in their hand.
Yeah. Every single one of them, except for Rand Paul, voted for that anti-Asian hate bill in the Senate. Every single one of them. Every one of them did. Yeah. Yeah. That bill passed 94-1.
Yeah.
Rand Paul is the one who didn't vote for it. Yeah.
Absolutely pathetic, useless, worse than useless.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I would, dude, at this point, I would rather just all of them be Democrats. Just get it over with. Get the shit show over with. I'm coming to the point now where I'm just full accelerationist. Just get this fucking shit show over with. And
to some degree, I am too, man. Yeah.
Collapse the dollar. Let's get back on the gold standard. And then we can start working our way back to some semblance of wealth creation, normality, freedom after all the smoke clears and all this shit. Because the right is, they're just, it's just,
I know it's triggering. It is.
Yeah,
it is.
I'm beyond triggered, dude. Like I used to be triggered. I'm not triggered anymore. I'm just like, just get it over with. The right's useless. The battle's over. The left is won. Just whatever. Why is the right even here anymore? Just get them the fuck out and just let the left do their thing, because the right's they're just dragging it out. The faster we can get this over with, the better.
It is definitely managed decline, and you hit the nail on the head when you realized after the election, we thought that Donald Trump had been an accelerating element within the Republican Party. No, he wasn't. Right? It was a ruse on the American people. Yeah,
it was a ruse.
Yeah,
it was
intended to be MAGA when they were not. They were not.
Yeah, that to me is the most blackpilling thing. It wasn't. Trump himself was not a ruse. I think Trump was. I think that what he said, I think he really stood by it, and I think he really believed it. The ruse was that the right was actually ever on board with it.
Yeah.
The right are the Republican Party are absolute pathetic, useless, worthless cowards.
Yeah.
Every one of them except, Rand Paul, even Ted Cruz. It's just like,
yeah, I'm so disappointed in Ted Cruz, man.
Yeah,
he knifed the president, man. Like we were discussing in the post-show call last week. He knifed the president. That's it.
Yeah, dude. Like somebody like Ted, it's like, what the right gets excited about now is like, oh man, so-and-so dunked on AOC on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like, this is all we have.
Yeah, I know.
This is it. This is what we're getting excited about.
Well, I would encourage you to watch The War Room because Dan is mobilizing, and they're going to put some runs on the board about America First Republicans in the Republican Party. They are going to, and don't know to what extent it will be. Will it burn the whole party down? No. It's too, like you were saying, endemic, pervasive. The swamp is deep, man. No, it's not going to purge the Republican Party, but it might send a notice out there. They will have to notice in the same way that the Tea Party did. Because I find another thing, as we've argued many times in these hallowed halls, right? The MAGA movement really was a Tea Party 2.0 movement in a lot of ways. It was, right? I don't think they're going to be able to quell this one the same way that they quelled the Tea Party movement. I don't think they can. It's too big. And Donald Trump is too forceful. There's too much money behind him. He's got $85 million in his war chest right now, right? He's starting, new think tanks, new commissions every single week, and it'll have an effect. We won't know about that until 2022, though.
Yeah, dude. Again, I'm going back to this is my mentality. I'm going back to my mentality about Barr and everybody. But
man.
Oh fuck, what was it? What is it called? Not Obamagate. Spygate.
Yeah.
I reached a point where I was just like, I don't give a shit anymore. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, you did.
And it never materialized into anything.
William Barr killed it. Yeah.
It was just dog shit. The whole thing.
While he was crafting Biden's executive orders that he signed at 12:07, handed even off the Bible yet, and he's already signing EOs that were written by William Barr.
Yeah, dude. And this is the way I am with Trump. This is the way I am with all of this, everything that anybody on the right is saying. This is why I'm saying like the left is one, because the left says they're going to do something. Actually, they don't even say they just do.
They just do it. Yeah.
They just do.
Yep.
Over and over and over.
Just do it.
You know?
Yep.
The right's like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Oh, we're doing this. But then
Lindsey
nothing
Graham
ever...
is where I tell you what I want to know. I want to know about what was going on in the DOJ. Who knew what? When? Shut up. Find out. Yeah. Find out.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
So I just, anybody on the right, Trump included, all of them, anybody who calls himself a Republican, I do not give a shit about a word that comes out of their mouth or some little press release or some bullshit. Show me the results. I'm like an investor in this respect at this point. It's like, I don't give a shit about, oh, my product is so promising. Oh, next year we think we're going to do this amount of revenue. Oh, there's nobody else in the market and we're going to tackle this market and it's going to turn into a thing. We're going to IPO in 6 years and blah, blah, blah. And then an investor says, I don't give a shut the fuck up and come back to me when you post those numbers.
Yeah.
And that's how I am with the Republican Party now.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about anything that they're saying or doing until I see some results.
Same here.
Otherwise, that party they are just worthless.
They are
just
worthless.
Useless.
They are, man. But here is the thing. And this is another thing I've been thinking about, Luke, and I don't want to get into it on this episode because I really almost want to do a deep dive about it, and it's too much to get into. I'm not a great fan of populism, right? But I've been realizing because the Republicans are such cucks, it is going to take a populist movement in order to get this party to heal. Nothing less than that. A collectivist populist movement. And I hate that fact. It's just the way it is. And I think that rank and file Republicans, Luke, I think they're on our side about this. I don't think that they're on Jeff Flake's side about it or Lindsey Graham's side about it or John Cornyn's side about it. I think they're with us on this,
I totally disagree.
You think that they're on the side of the establishment?
No. I totally disagree that this needs to be I think we got here because of the populist movement. I think we got here because politicians are like, what do the people think? Let me lick my finger and hold it up in the air so I can be a populist. They're totally unprincipled. They're not coming out and say, like Rand Paul, not a populist. Rand Paul,
he's not.
Yeah,
no, he's not.
He's a principled politician.
Yeah.
And like in that sense, like populism is totally reaction. It's just let me lick my finger and hold it up in the air and see which way's the wind blowing, and then that's what I think.
Well, is individualism going to work? No. Is capitalism going to work? No. I'm sorry, it's not. They've already been subverted. Both of them have, and it will take, in my opinion,
question,
some type of populist fire.
It has been subverted. The question is not whether it has or hasn't. That fact is true. I'm not disputing that fact. The question I'm asking is why, and the reason is because nobody on the right has any principles. Yeah. Nobody actually gives a shit about capitalism. Nobody has the balls to come out and actually champion individualism. Nobody has the balls to come out and champion capitalism because they're licking their finger and holding it up in the air and going, oh, but we all want to feel good. I don't want to take away your Social Security. Oh, I don't want to be the one to vote against the anti-Asian hate bill. I don't want to be the one to do that. I'm not principled. I'm just going to go along with it because I don't want to be the one that nobody likes.
Mm-hmm.
So like, dude, like it's because they're unprincipled. It's not because capitalism failed us. It's been subverted. It's been subverted. It's been subverted. I'm not disputing that fact. What I'm saying is there's a reason it's been subverted. The reason it's been subverted is there's nobody who in principle is standing up for it. Nobody on the left or the right. Even if they do, it's an isolated argument in defense of it in a vacuum, which is politically expedient in that moment. In which case, that's just pure pragmatism. It
is pragmatism. It's not populism. It's pragmatism. And I suppose that I guess that what I am arguing is that I think populism at this point is inevitable. Mike Ivey jumps in. Even Dan Patrick is screwing with our constitutional carry bill. Mike, I have not heard about that. I'm going to shoot you a text when the show is over. I need the details on that. I'll look for it myself. But man, that That is very sad. That is very sad to hear. What Dan Patrick is one of these stalwarts. I thought that he was completely reliable, like Ken Paxton, right? But I'm learning all the time. Greg Abbott, unprincipled, completely unprincipled, right? He got to go, okay? If this is true about Dan Patrick, he got to go too. So I'll hit you up after the show, Mike. That's very disappointing to hear. So, yeah. So,
yeah, I just Googled it. I found an article. This is the Texas Tribune. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says Senate currently lacks the votes to pass permitless carry of handguns. Quote,
no, it doesn't.
He says, quote, I plan to meet with law enforcement who oppose permitless carry and with the NRA and Gun Owners of America who support it to see if we can find a path that a majority of senators will vote to pass.
Yeah, you see what he's doing? Yeah, Mike's right. He's being a snake about it. He's trying to act like he's saying the talk because he knows everybody in Texas wants constitutional carry. He knows they do, right? He's trying to act like he supports it, but we just don't have the votes in the Senate, and I'm going to go work with the NRA. Just exactly what we were talking about. I'm going to go work with the NRA and, Concealed Carry Association of America and all these people, and we're going to blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God. Failure theater is what it is. Failure theater.
Translation here, we can put this in other words. I plan on working with my wife's boyfriend to see if I can have sex with my wife also. That's basically what what this is.
That is. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, damn. Well, thanks for keeping us honest on that, Mike. I just saw your text come in. I'll check it out in the break. We're going to be hitting break here pretty quick. So, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, dude, now would be a great time if you.
All right. You're
at a good stopping point.
Yeah, I am. Let me pull up the audio. It is triggering, dear listener. Okay, it's going to be Rachel Maddow, so I want you to grab your barf bag and get ready. But it has to be done for a very specific reason. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I might even grab bag this a little bit. And Luke, feel free to jump in anytime if you want to grab bag it too. It's a 12-minute clip. Dear listener, this is what panic sounds like. This is absolute panic. What do they do when they panic? They lash out. They attack. They insult. They belittle. Okay? And that is exactly what Rachel Maddow's open was last night. And it is about this. What is going on in Arizona with this forensic audit right now? There's been all kinds of malfeasance from the left about this because they get shit done. Okay? They sued in district court yesterday. The district court judge was like, okay, I'll put an injunction on it. We'll put it off until Monday, but you got to put up $1 million bond, Arizona Democrats, because this is going to cost money. Now, it's a bond, dear listener. That means they're going to get most of that money back. It is a down payment on the costs that were going to be incurred by stopping the count at the 11th hour, which is exactly what they tried to do. They literally delivered the ballots to the Veterans Center in Phoenix, Arizona. As soon as the ballots were there, the Democrats sued, trying to make political theater. Okay. Well, what they're doing now is venue shopping. Okay. They didn't like that $1 million bond that they had to put up. Oh, no. That was in the morning yesterday. So then in the afternoon, they went to federal court and they've now sued in federal court. I've got plenty of information about that. We might hit on it after the break, but we're not out of the woods on this yet, dear listener. This could be stopped. Okay. What the purpose of this is to forensically examine the ballots in Maricopa County, which is where Phoenix, Arizona is. There are 2.1 million ballots in question there. And I'm getting into trouble here, Luke. I'm getting out over my skis. Yeah, help me, Bob. Help me on this one real fast. All right.
But 24 inch, but you use whatever size is convenient. And I've taken
there
a
are
little
2.1 million in question.
In a foam
335,000 appear to be fraudulent.
And I've just sort of painted in a
state
here
that was carried
to make
by
these little
only
effects.
10,000 votes.
A natural
dear listener, okay,
sponge.
this
just daubed a little
is
bit.
a major
That's
deal
all there is to
going on, and
let that dry completely.
I
and then
promise
we've
you
covered
this.
the entire
Okay,
canvas
if this county
with a very
falls,
thin coat
if it
of
was
liquid
proven to be
clear.
fraudulent,
so it's all wet,
they
ready
all
to
fall.
go.
I promise
I'll show you
that they will.
A nice
okay?
way of
That's
making
what's at stake here.
just a gorgeous.
And that's why the left is running around with their hair on fire, like Rachel Maddow did last night. Now, it's disgusting to listen to, and Rachel Maddow is disgusting, okay? But she cannot be underestimated, dear listener. She is very smart, and she is very effective, and she is already trying to get out in front of this story. We're going to listen to it right now. Bannon talked about it this morning on the War Room, but he didn't play the audio. The audio has to be entered into evidence. That's why we're going to do it right here in this audio break. So again, our advanced apologies. Luke, you ready to ride?
Let's do it, man.
All right, dear listener, thank you so much for making it down halfway down this 124-mile trek. Hope you're enjoying it as much as Luke and I are. Luke and I are going to take a leak, refresh beds, do the things we normally do, try to enjoy Rachel Maddow, and I'll jump in here and there. Luke and I will be back at you before you know it.
The official audit led by the Cyber Ninja guy began today. The Cyber Ninjas say they hired a subcontractor to actually physically...
Oh, you mean Cyber Ninjas? The Cyber Ninjas, you mean kind of like CrowdStrike, right? The CrowdStrike that forensically, quote, forensically audited the DNC server when it was, quote, hacked, right? Didn't let the FBI take a look at it. Oh, no, but the Cyber Ninjas are so egregious when CrowdStrike's just fine, aren't they, dear listener? Here we go.
Handle the ballots. The CEO of Cyber Ninjas, who again is the guy who is the proponent of the theory that U.S. Army commandos in Germany stole the real election server and got into a war with the CIA over it, and the truth is out there. He says the company he's hired to handle all of the ballots has drawn their employees for this purpose from a pool of retirees to perform the recount. Wait, who's actually going to be handling the ballots? He says, don't worry, they're retirees.
Okay, dear listener, this recount is scheduled for 6 weeks, okay? Who in the hell has 6 weeks from their career to give to go recount these ballots? This is why in a long capital murder trial, for example, what you look for are retirees, government pensioners, right? Because they are the only ones that have the time to devote to that trial. And the same thing is true in this recount or this forensic audit, okay? She is being misleading and disingenuous and making fun of retired persons all at the same time, ridiculing them when there's nobody else that can do this. So shitty of her. I mean, just absolute shit. I'm going to back it up a little bit. Here we go again.
Who's actually going to be handling the ballots? He says, don't worry, they're retirees. He says they're retirees, veterans, former law enforcement. No further details are available. No word on any training they may or may not have received to handle all of the actual ballots cast in the presidential election, but now they've got them. Meanwhile, journalists have been denied access to the arena where the audit is taking place. The only people allowed inside are that Cyber Ninja people running the audit and the retirees, the unknown retirees who have been hired to handle the ballots, and a group of observers. And God bless local journalism. Here's your semi-annual reminder to subscribe to your local paper, because among the observers today was a reporter from the Arizona Republic named Jen Fifield. She volunteered to be an observer today of this Michigas, not necessarily because that's an appropriate way for the press to have to observe this thing, but the only other alternative was that no reporters would be allowed to observe it at all. So she got herself named an official observer of the process.
Okay, here's what's going on with this, dear listener. Here's what's up, okay? This is a leftist, this Jen Fifield girl. She's going to be a guest here on Rachel Maddow here in just a little bit. And yeah, she is another leftist running around with her hair on fire because the journalists aren't allowed to come in and monitor this. Hey, Rachel Maddow, you know something? How does it feel, baby? How does it feel to not be able to monitor the forensic audit? How does it feel? Right back at you. I bet it feels really similarly to the way it felt to the Republicans in Michigan when they were locked out in Detroit. I bet it feels very similarly to the way it did to the Republicans in Pennsylvania and Georgia when they fabricated a water main break that never happened, ran the Republicans out, and began counting multiple times ballots in there with no supervision whatsoever. How does it feel, honey? How does it feel? Turnabout is fair play.
By that means, she was really the only reporter, as far as we know, who was able to get herself inside the room. She says that she and her fellow formal observers received no training for what they were to do today beyond being told to watch that the counters were recording the votes accurately. How are the volunteers supposed to know what that looks like? Who's to say? But shortly into her volunteer observer shift to watch the counters who were handling all the real ballots, reporter Jen Fifield noticed something that seemed quite wrong going on. in terms of the way this is being conducted. Here's how she explained it on Twitter. She said, quote, "I noticed the counters had blue pens. You're supposed to have only red pens when you are."
Okay. Now the left wants to bitch about the pens. When in fact, in Maricopa County, voters, Republican voters uniquely, were given the wrong color of pen with which to fill out their ballots because their ballots could not be counted with that color of ink. I believe they were Sharpies that they were given. And the voting machines could not count that, right? But now all of a sudden, oh God, Jen Fifield, oh God, they were using blue pens. Oh my God. Yeah, unbelievable.
Around ballots, since ballot scanners can read black and blue ink. Those blue pens the counters have could potentially be used to mark the ballots. Literally in Arizona's election handbook, it warns about this specifically. Here's the part in the elections handbook about procedures for conducting the hand count. Quote, "Hand count board members shall not bring cellular phones or other electronic devices or pens with black or blue ink into the official hand counting area." You're not even supposed to bring black or blue pens into the room because of the risk that they could be used to change ballots. But here's this Arizona Republic reporter, Jen Fifield, who sees the ballot counters all holding blue pens while they're recounting the ballots under the watchful eye of the cyber ninja guy who's been an online promoter of the QAnon conspiracy and all of the craziest stuff in the Stop the Steal movement.
Okay. All right. Ma'am, most respectfully, you're going to have to prove that statement. Okay. You can't just come out and say QAnon. Oh my God. It's the same type of slur that they've always used in terms of like racism. Okay. That's one of their go-tos, right? Now QAnon is one of their go-tos. Insurrectionist is one of their go-tos, right? That's the first thing they try to do is attack you on terms from which you cannot defend yourself. So ma'am, if you're going to accuse this guy who does go by the cyber ninja of being a QAnon conspiracy theorist and insurrectionist, oh my God, we need to see the proof right now. We're not going to just let you say it because frankly, ma'am, I doubt your veracity. I doubt that this is true, but that's what they're going to do, dear listener. This is going to be a hell of a week in Arizona coming up. Get ready. Prepare yourself.
She says something to the cyber ninja guy about the fact that the counters have the blue pens. Here's what happens next. Quote, Doug Logan, the cyber ninja guy, is running this audit. He told me that his understanding was that blue ink was fine, that the ballots can only read black ink. Then he came back and said, actually, it seems I am correct. But he still seemed unsure. He said they would work on this. After that, Jen Fifield from the Arizona Republic was banned by the cyber ninja auditors from posting any further updates. And so she goes dark for the day. The only reporter inside the room today.
Okay, first of all, we're not going to let you get away with this either, Rachel Maddow. This is a flat out lie. Jen Fifield was not banned from the center. She is an observer still to this moment. She is still there. She is still tweeting about it. She was not banned, you filthy liar.
Today, as Arizona Republicans are doing that to the secure election of November 2020.
Yeah, it's so secure. Let's break it down, Rachel Maddow. Let's break it down all the way. Okay. Why is this happening? Okay. Why is a forensic audit necessary? Because of the way the left behaved during the election. Where's my Bob Ross at? Bob, get me out of here, man. Help me out.
It's very simple.
Because of the way the left behaved. The left caused this. The left were the ones that ran Republicans out in Detroit and then put pizza boxes on the window so that they could not observe. The left did the same thing in Pennsylvania. The left are the ones that caused all of these problems. Not people on the right. People on the right were just there to observe and
there, like that.
Observe this secure election as you so bandy about. No, ma'am. Your side made sure that it was just to not a secure election. And this is why we have to do this crap that we have to do right now. It is your fault. Don't you dare blame us. And don't you dare
colors you want to use,
wonder,
you want them to be,
question us, call us QAnon conspiracy theorists and racists and insurrectionists. Don't you dare guess us
about like that
for our suspicions, because, ma'am, it was nothing but suspicious.
There.
All right. I'm going to kill Bob Ross
But just
here
let
real
it go.
fast, dear listener. Let's get back into this disgusting wretch.
They got their redo. They're doing it right now. She was the one reporter in there. The rest of the media was banned from even coming inside the building. The Democratic Party in Arizona filed a lawsuit yesterday to try to stop this from going forward in Arizona. They said the whole enterprise was illegal. Today, the judge in the case agreed to pause the audit over the weekend while the merits of their lawsuit were considered. But that pause came with an odd price tag. The judge told the Arizona Democratic Party that if the audit was going to be paused, the Democratic Party in the state would have to pay $1 million to cover any costs associated with.
Okay, you see, there it is. The Democratic Party has to pay $1 million to cover all of the costs. It's right there in your Chiron on the screen right now, ma'am. It's $1 million bond. What does that mean, ma'am? You are smarter than this, but you are completely dishonest. A bond means they would get most of that money back. That's what it means. It is a bond. They didn't have to pay $1 million. They had to buy a bond. God. Oh, my dear listener.
The delay. The Cyber Ninja guy, the Cyber Ninja CEO running the audit up until now has refused to say how much the audit will cost in total. Part of the controversy about the audit is that he's not only taking taxpayer money to do it, he's also taking private donations from undeclared sources to carry this out, which means Trump supporters could be paying for the Cyber Ninjas company to run an Arizona recount about whether or not Trump won the election.
Do I have to say the obvious here, dear listener? Do I have to say the obvious? Okay, ma'am, you're going to need to cite that. You're going to need to show some proof of that. That's a very bold claim, and we're going to need to see some proof, or you can't say that. You're the journalist, after all. We're the opinion guys. You're the journalist.
Anyway, somehow the judge in this case decided today that a delay would cost the Cyber Ninja company upwards of $1 million, and Arizona Democrats had to indemnify them against that by putting up the money up front. Arizona Democrats refused to do that, and so the audit is supposed to be back on. Supposed to continue through this weekend.
Thank God it is.
That dust-up in court today was not for nothing, however. The judge also did say today that the Republican state Senate, which ordered this audit, and the Cyber Ninja company that hired to do it, the judge ordered today that they must file written documentation of all the procedures being followed as part of the audit so the judge can review them and make sure they're all in line with the law. The judge ordered that the audit workers must comply with existing Arizona laws around elections, which means they must stop, for example, using blue or black pens while they are recounting the ballots.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna bitch about the pens some more. That's just great. That's great.
Indeed, when Arizona Republic reporter Jen Fifield emerged from her weird volunteer shift this evening, she had this to report before dashing to meet her print deadline. She said, quote, "One quick update. They switched to green and red pens." Joining us now is Jen Fifield, reporter for the Arizona Republic, who has had a most unusual day of reporting. Ms. Fifield, thank you so much for being here. I imagine this has been a pretty strange day.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, though.
Who caused it? Who caused it? Strange day.
Let me
Who caused it? Yeah. Jen Fifield, dear listener, she's exactly the phenotype you would think. Big, bright red lipstick, and she's growing out her purple roots at the end of her blonde hair, and exactly the phenotype you would expect. All right. Luke, let's do this one question and jump on back in. All right.
Ask if I characterize this observer role correctly. It is a source of great consternation among major news sources in Arizona, I know, that reporters are being barred.
The Arizona Republic, a shitlib rag. Yeah.
From just directly covering this process the way that journalists normally would in a normal recount.
How's it feel, honey? How does it feel?
Instead, the organizers of this has said that you needed to sign up essentially to be a participant in it in order to be able to witness what was happening, and that's how you got in the building. Is that a correct way to describe it?
That's correct. We were told that we needed to serve the full shift. And while I was there, I was to be an observer and not a reporter. And that's part of the crackdown. Halfway through my shift, they came up and said, no posting updates. We don't want any blogging or posting news reports during this. You're to be an observer.
All right. I think we're live again. Russ?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Welcome back to HSP episode number 124. Et tu, Makia?
I love the title, dude.
Dude, I have to say, I think that's one of my favorite ones so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we go on, don't forget to follow us on zerogravitymedia.locals.com. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. You can find us on YouTube searching Zero Gravity Media, and you can find me on Twitter. No, actually, you can't. I'm on private. I locked mine down on private. I don't get on Twitter anymore. A waste of time. I don't want to contribute to their success. And yeah, same with Facebook. I barely even get on Facebook anymore. What else is there? For SoundCloud, iTunes, Podbean. No, not Podbean.
Whoa.
I named the platform.
Yeah,
which
that
shall not be
platform
named.
Shall be not be named. Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and TuneIn. All under Zero Gravity Media. Russ, dude, I was listening to this audio break because I only took like a few minutes break, but dude, you need to do like reaction videos. That's what you need to do.
That is the second time that has been suggested to me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, man. All right.
Yeah. You need to do these videos where like you put yourself, next to the video to which you're reacting or down in the corner or something like this. And then you do exactly what you just did for about 10 or 15 minutes.
All right.
Well,
man, I got triggered though, man. I got triggered. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I know, but that's good. But that's good content.
Well, yeah.
So I think you need to do that. But I think that needs to be a video unto itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
like
right.
anytime you see something and you get triggered, I think you need to do a reaction video.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll look into it. So yeah.
All right, man. The other thing I find strangely interesting is how triggered that the left is over an audit. If anything, they would want to be like, "Oh, hey, let's make sure we do an audit to show how stupid the right is."
Yes.
But no, they're triggered over an audit.
Yes. Yeah. Lawfare Brigade is in full force. Yeah, they are triggered and they're terrified, and you could see it in Rachel Maddow's face. You could hear it in her voice. Yeah, they are triggered. And I mean, it's exactly what Trump's statement was when it came out on Friday. The left is doing everything they can to stop this audit from happening. What are they hiding? They know what they did. Paraphrase, damn, I probably should have had Bob Ross on for that, but yeah, hopefully we'll make
whatever.
It. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. But I agree with you. Their behavior right now is revelatory and it is confessional. And I think the former president is exactly right. They know some shit went down. And so, yeah. Never forget the way things went down that night, dear listener. I'm not going to do it out of fear. I'm going to muzzle myself like I do by the maskers, right? Because I don't want to get thrown off of YouTube and our video canceled and shut down and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to do it. But remember the sequence of events that night of election night, dear listener. It was interesting to say the least. So yeah, and Arizona was fully involved in all of that. So yeah, so was Fox News, by the way. So, yeah. So yeah. And,
so what you got for the second segment, man?
Well, I suppose we should just get it out of the way, man. I think that we've covered Arizona. There are enough facts. Dear listener, there is a webcam feed that you can go look at. The War Room Brigade, probably several listeners on this trail right here, myself, they've got an 8-camera feed where you can go yourself, watch this feed, and yourself observe the forensic audit going on in Maricopa County. So it's a fascinating watch. I usually put it on at about like 9 in the morning and just kind of have it on, and just if there's movement, well, then I'll stop and look at it for a little bit. Okay, what's going on? Okay, moving ballot boxes. Okay, that type of thing. I would suggest that you do it. I think that there are enough facts out about it, and I think we all know what's going on here. But man, I suppose we should just get out of the way, man. I guess the story of the week was the Derek Chauvin verdict. You got any thoughts on it, man? I've got nothing unique. I've got a bunch of sources to talk about and stuff, but I don't have anything to weigh in on. What do you think?
Thoughts on it. I mean, I don't know. Like, what is there to say?
Yeah, pretty much me too. Yep.
I mean, is what he did, as an arresting officer appropriate? No.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Luke and Ross, we're we BLM now, we communists now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a police officer puts his knee on a dude's neck, and then now we're communists.
Mm-hmm.
So no. I mean, no, I don't think what he did is appropriate. I don't agree I don't agree in general with the law that police officers are somehow immune.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that law either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't even like talking about it because it's just it's all just theater. It's all charade. It's all theater. It's like, yeah, he was on fentanyl. He was on, but again, like the more that we talk about it, the more we're just buying into all the bullshit narrative.
Right.
And splitting everybody apart, polarizing everybody. And this is what they want us to be talking about because the left wants everybody to be divided on this.
Yes,
they want everybody to be divided on this. So they're
doing things like passing all these executive orders and legislation, which there are plenty more we can get to while they're enacting their agenda. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I view it as one of those things where I don't really give a shit, whatever. He got convicted. Okay, fine. He also shouldn't have been holding his knee on someone's neck. George Floyd's dead. He also shouldn't have been, he was also just sitting in his car. There's that, Was he on drugs and all this stuff? Sure.
Yeah.
But he's also just sitting in his car. I mean, my God, dude, never in a million years in Europe would a police officer approach your vehicle because you're sitting inside of it.
Well, he had just committed forgery, so there's that.
But did he know that when he approached the vehicle? Dude, I don't know. I saw a video. I saw a video. It was one of these like body cam videos. Actually, no, I remember. Yeah, it was a body cam video. But the irony was the police were throwing themselves under the bus by making this public. The police officer goes, so they pulled this kid over, and he was sober. He was coming back from the library, studying for a test. And he was a magician and a juggler. And the police pulled him over. And the police thought it would be really funny to release this body cam footage of the guy saying, I am so sober. I actually have these juggling pins in my back seat, and I'll juggle them for you. So you can see how sober I am. Which is really funny. And it was entertaining. And the dude juggles them and then does a magic trick. And the officers are laughing and they're like, oh, okay, we're going to let you go on your way. The reason we pulled you over is because you're driving under the speed limit. And generally when people are intoxicated, they drive under the speed limit so they don't get pulled over. And I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, you're pulling over people for driving over the speed limit and you're pulling over people for driving under the speed limit.
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
You drive the speed limit, period. I know.
Yeah, dude. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
This shit doesn't happen outside. Like, I don't know. I can't say outside of the U.S., but like, I've not lived in the U.S. for 5 years. I've never seen any the police. The United States is a fucking police state, and the police need to get their shit in order with respect to ticket quotas and all this bullshit. Driving around just looking for problems. They drive around, look for problems, and then they're surprised when they find themselves in one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking like, go back to the donut shop and just converse with your community and figure out where the crimes are. And it's not the police's fault. They should just be funded to the extent that they need to exist. And then like our village, for example, the police, when we had 2 police officers, 12,000 people is it's legally considered a village. 12,000 people. We had 2 police officers for 12,000 people. Those 2 police officers hit their retired, and guess what? The town hall chose not to replace them. Because they just sat in the park all day and didn't do shit. There was nothing to do. Now, I'm sure they could wander around and ticket people for jaywalking and, oh, I've got to hit a quota. I need to go find somebody who, barely snuck through a red light. Oh, I've got to go find somebody who's driving 3 kilometers an hour over the speed limit. Oh, I'm going to hide over here until I catch some. No, they don't need to. They're totally reactionary and it's just fine. And they actually just chose not to replace them. And now our town of 12,000 people relies on the neighboring town of 100,000 people for their police force. There's literally no patrolling in our entire town of 12,000 people. And there's no problem, none whatsoever. We just, anytime something happens, the police from the neighboring town of 100,000 people, they come over and then they deal with it. And then they go back and don't come back. And it's perfectly fine. Yeah. And we don't have these problems because the police are retaliatory in nature. They're protecting and serving. They're not hiding and ticketing. So we've created this situation in America where we've pitted the police against the people themselves, against the people for whom they are supposed to be serving, protecting and serving. We've pitted the two against each other. Yeah. And then we're all looking around going, hey, bro, fuck that. I don't like the police. And we're all wondering how this came to be. Yeah. Take the quotas off the police. That's 90% of the problem right there. Yeah. Legalize drugs, sex crimes, all this bullshit shouldn't have even ever been made. These are laws passed by evangelicals in the early 20th century. Evangelicals getting their way into the Congress, the House and the Senate, both passing a bunch of bullshit laws. This is where prohibition came from. This is the illegalization of marijuana. If you've never seen Reefer Madness, it's hilarious how ridiculous that movie portrays people smoking weed, right? These are evangelicals, hardcore evangelicals, which, by the way, many of whom came from Britain. They came, there's a massive immigration wave, about 10,000 Brits who were Victorian era evangelical moralists coming over. So if you want to, people are oh, fucking Mexican immigration. You know why we have all this shit happening with these ridiculous drug laws? It's actually British immigrants that came over here. There's about 10 million of them right in the early 20th century, and then on top. So we've got all these bullshit evangelical morality laws in place. Then you layer on top of that quotas to enforce them all. And then we all stand around and then the left passes all this shit with welfare and the black community, destroys the black community and impoverished communities. And then we all stand around wondering, hey guys, what happened? Yeah. Yeah. I know. Seriously. So I don't know. I'm just, and now the left is doing an even more evil thing, which is using the what happened question to further divide and pit everybody against each other. Oh yeah. So, and the right's answering in kind. They're just well, fuck you. I'm pro-police. It's dude, where's the third rail here? Okay. Can we not agree that police are meant to do things in today's society, which they shouldn't be doing against they probably don't even give a shit about it. They probably don't even want to be arresting people for weed. Actually, I take that back. There's some that definitely do, but I think that's because they're brainwashed. But
they don't want to be sitting around giving speeding tickets. I can guarantee you that.
I can guarantee you they'd much rather, instead of wearing combat boots and riot gear, I can guarantee you they'd much rather be hanging out in the donut shop, having a cup of coffee with your grandma who went there and he wants to talk about the community. And she's like, yeah, there's a lot of ruckus going on over here in this neighborhood. And he's like, oh, okay, maybe I'll go check that out later. I'm sure he'd much rather be doing that and allocating their resources more strategically than it's like in sales, dude. It's we've turned the police into magazine subscription salespeople where they just pound the phones all day like monkeys on a phone, when they'd be much better off being more strategic, researching customer, in the sales world, researching customers, doing real work, you know, not just pounding the phones all day and then in their world just pounding the tickets all day, you know,
Yeah.
to hit a quota. We've turned
Yeah.
them all into ticket monkeys,
Yeah.
you know, and that's not
Yeah.
good. You know, they're intelligent human beings. They're good people, generally speaking, and let them do the work that they think needs to be done, not what some ticket quota says, and fund them so they're not thinking about money. You can't turn it into a business. You know, something like policing and courts. This is the government is the apparatus of the use of force and coercion. That's its purpose, fundamentally. That's its only purpose. That's the only purpose for which it should serve. Okay, you cannot involve that in a market. You can't incentivize that. You can't say introduce more force. We're gonna incentivize more force with a quota system. That is fundamentally contradictory in nature.
Mm.
It's not a marketplace. It's not a market, and this is why ANCAP is fucking retarded too. Anarcho-capitalism, because you cannot have force and marketplace. Those two things don't exist together. You can't incentivize force, and if you do, you end up with problems that we have today, which is police being more concerned with ticketing soccer moms for driving 5 miles over the speed limit when there's rapes and murders and shit happening on the other side of the same town.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Hence Chicago. That's exactly what's going on.
Totally.
That's
I would take
what's going on. Yeah.
I would take every cop hiding to ticket speeders in Chicago and I'm sure a lot of moms and dads of like black families, and they're the real victims of all this, right?
Mhm.
You know, the ones living in these neighborhoods, they can't afford to get out. You know, I would much rather have the police just not ticket anybody for speeding for like a month. Speeding's not a big deal, by the way. People drive the speed at which they think they can safely drive. And I know that because I drive on a speed unrestricted zone every single day in Germany. And people just, you know, first of all, it's very difficult to drive at a high speed for an extended period of time. I've white knuckled it for like 2 hours at 130 miles an hour, and I was mentally exhausted afterwards. I have a whole new respect for like Formula One drivers and NASCAR drivers, but I'm not going to get into that right now. People drive at speeds at which, and not only that, American roads are shit. German roads are like racetracks. American roads are bumpy. You don't drive. You just don't drive. Like, who the hell drives around like, oh God, we're about to die, but we need to get there 3 minutes faster. Like, no, people drive at a speed at which they think is safe. You don't even need speed limits. They're totally useless. Like, so, you know, I would take all the officers in Chicago that are out there, you know, busting speeders and hiding, just have them sit around the police HQ for a week and be like, how do we deal with this troublesome neighborhood? You know, how do we get in there? How do we do it? Do we send in a bunch of undercover officers? Do we lobby the local government saying like these drug laws are bullshit, stop making us enforce them? Do we just go in there with brute force, like sort of like how we went into Baghdad? You know, like let them think about those problems, but they can't. They're out hiding and giving speeding tickets.
That's right.
You know, and then of course, you know, they you know, then you've got the George Floyd situations, and dude, it's a shit show, man.
Yeah, it is.
That was an extremely long-winded tangential way to answer your question about what I think of the Chauvin trial, which is like, it's like to me, that's like a blip on the radar in the grand scheme of things, you know?
Yeah. I really don't have much to contribute, but I've got a little bit of audio here. I'm going to play it real quick. It's from the closing arguments of the trial. It's about 30 seconds. Here we go.
Threatening acts of violence in relation to the specific case.
Okay, this is Nelson, the defense attorney, talking about how their witnesses had been threatened. They had pig heads thrown at their houses, pig blood sprayed all over their buildings, and then this.
It's mind-boggling to me, Judge.
Well, I'll give you that Congresswoman Waters may have given you something on appeal that may result in this whole trial being overturned. But what's the state's position?
All right, so that's it right there. Dear listener, you already know the story. Maxine Waters came out pretty much right after we hit the black button on episode number 123, and she came up to the courthouse and said that they demand murder conviction. Regardless of the evidence, regardless of anything, they demand it. And if you don't, we need to get more riotous. Is exactly What?
Yeah.
Well, pretty
I heard
much
about
what
all
you said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard about all
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Well,
and it puts the whole question into trial, the whole trial into question.
It does. It does. It certainly does. And now you've got a witness coming out this week. I've got an article here pulled up about it, but I'm not going to get into it. She admits that she was influenced by that influenced her decision. She thought going in, number one, compromisation. She thought going into it that George Floyd or that Derek Chauvin was guilty. Okay. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to listen to the evidence in the trial. She admits that she thought he was guilty. And then number two, she was directly influenced by Maxine Waters' demand for violence, and that flat out said that she didn't want to see the city burn again. Okay. Mistrial. I promise you, dear listener, this is going to go up on appeal and it is going to be a mistrial. And we're going to do this all over again. Well, I no, that's not true. Appeals court will either overturn the conviction or not. I think go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm surprised they haven't co-opted the word yet.
Right. I know. Right. They will. They will.
They're gonna be like, this is police chauvinism.
Yeah. You watch. It's gonna be something like that. Yeah. So yeah.
It's gonna be chauvinism is gonna be the new thing.
Yeah. So no, man, I really don't have much to add. I mean, I thought that the defense presented reasonable doubt. The standard for evidence is beyond a reasonable doubt. I think they presented reasonable doubt. I think also that Derek Chauvin was overcharged. I think it problematic to convict somebody for manslaughter and murder charges. The charges themselves are contradictory, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Manslaughter is like, oops, sorry, I killed you. Murder is like, I killed you.
I deliberately did. Yeah, with intent. Yeah. Yeah. So I thought he was overcharged. But it doesn't matter what we think, does it? It really doesn't. But it was the story of the week, and I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts about it. And I'm glad that you said what you did, because we talked about not all that stuff, but some of that stuff the week after George Floyd was killed, and we identified. Okay, now listen, we're not communists, right? We're right-wing conservative capitalists, okay? But there are some problems with the policing system right now, and I think it bears saying again this week, especially. I think it does, right? It's not the police officers' fault. It's not. No.
It's
we've structured police. It's structural policing right
now. I think this might be one of those situations where, it might be in this specific instance his fault. I look at what he was doing and his like arrogance and just, I'm just like, dude, you're one of these dickhead police officers on a power trip.
I think that probably is right. So,
there's Ronnie Coleman was on the Joe Rogan show. And if anybody doesn't know who Ronnie Coleman was, he's most well known as possibly the greatest bodybuilder that's ever lived,
for sure.
Just huge ass motherfucker, just huge. But he was also a Dallas police officer for the entirety of his bodybuilding career. And he and Joe Rogan were talking about all this, and Ronnie Coleman was saying, back in my day when I got hired, they required a college degree.
Yeah,
he was like, they don't do that anymore. He's like, you can get some dipshit. And I'm not saying people who don't go to college are dipshits. That's not what I'm saying.
For sure.
But
for sure.
They used having a college degree as but one filter to measure one's I don't want to say aptitude, because lots of people don't go to college who have a really high aptitude, but one's ability to
it has been argued by someone. Yeah, it has been argued by someone. I can't remember who it is, so I shouldn't even say it. But as a proxy for an IQ test, it's been argued that way before. I'm not sure that is exactly it, but that's.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I mean, I can see why they would say that, but I think that's totally wrong.
It's simplistic. I mean, because I know people who don't have college degrees who have huge IQ. So
and even IQ test. I mean, I'll take somebody who works their ass off and is ethical over somebody who's lazy and unethical. I mean, actually, I would take somebody who's unethical and low IQ over somebody who's unethical and high IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Because the person who's unethical and a high IQ is going to do way more damage than a person who's unethical and low IQ.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm all about ethics, and I don't really give that much of a shit about IQ. I'll take somebody who's low IQ, ethical, but works hard over somebody who's high IQ, ethical, but lazy.
Yeah.
You know, so IQ to me is just really massively irrelevant relative to other much more important things. But no, I mean, the only thing on college so college degree is important for a couple of for in my opinion 2 reasons. One is you learn some specific skill, which is very mental in nature. So history, like the humanities to some extent, and the sciences. Okay. Going to college for, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess you learn some stuff in business, but I mean, I think college has its purpose, but I think it's way overinflated on the purpose that it serves.
Yeah.
It's a bubble for sure. It's a financial bubble for sure, an economic bubble, but I think it's also an intellectual bubble in the sense that it's not nearly as important as culturally we're made to think that it is. But I think really the more important thing is, and I think this is more broadly important and generally applicable, is it says to an employer that you're a long range thinker. You can, if an employer is hiring you for a highly valuable position, then you can think long term. You can say, I'm going to do something, and that thing is going to take 4 years, and at the end of 4 years, it's not all gone to waste. You know, it's fine if you're like and I've worked in kitchens, so I'll use this analogy. It's not insulting because I love working in kitchens. But it's fine if you hire a kitchen worker and they spend 15 minutes cooking a burger and the burger sucks. That's fine. That's like one hamburger. It's not a huge expenditure. But if you hire a kitchen worker and you're like, I need you to cook hamburgers for 4 years, and then 4 years later, every hamburger they cooked fucking sucked. That's a shitload of money, you know?
Okay.
So like a college degree says to an employer, like, I can cook hamburgers for 4 years, and at the end of 4 years, we're going to have a bunch of really great hamburgers, right? It's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but that's basically what it is. It's like, I can think long range, and you're not going to waste a bunch of money over the course of time. You know, that's what a college degree really generally says to an employer. Outside of that, there's very certain specific things like mechanical engineering where you just need to sit in a classroom for a while to really learn it, you know? So like Michelin star chefs, you know, they don't, you don't become a Michelin star chef like in one night, in one meal, period. You become a Michelin star chef over many, many, many years. So if you're looking to, like, if you're an investor and you want to hire, you want to invest in somebody who's going to become a Michelin star chef, you want to have some amount of confidence that over the course of time, they're going to become one, not that they can cook one meal one time. You know? So there's a time, there's a duration of time attached. There's an importance attached to the duration of time, you know, and a college degree says that you can meet that, even if you're, you know, fucking, I don't know, honeybee biology or some shit like this, you know? You can at least, they can at least even then say, okay, you know, you can start something, and then 4 years later, in my case, 5.5, because I took 1.5 years off. And I also barely passed. Prided myself on 2.0 being the perfect balance between work and play. Graduated with a 2.01, so I overachieved. But that's why when people are like, man, so how did you do in college? I always tell them, I'm like, well, you know, I was a bit of an overachiever. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you know, I always viewed, you know, because my dad always told me, he was like, college degree is worthless. So I assumed it to be worthless. So I just was like, why am I even here? So I was like, I'm going to party as much as I can and do just enough to pass. That's it. Because I always assumed I'd go into sales. And they'll hire anybody basically with a college degree. And so I was like, my goal is a 2.0 because that means I will have maximized the balance between work and play. I would have optimized for work and play. And so I tell people, I was like, I got a 2.01, which means I overachieved.
Overachiever, man. Yeah. Overachiever. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
I worked too hard. I didn't party enough.
Yeah. Oh man, where are we at on time, man? I haven't looked at the
1 hour 45.
So we got about 15 minutes left. All right, man. You mind if I shift gears here real quick? You mind?
No, not at all. Which gear are you shifting into?
I'll tell you as we get there. Dear listener, also notice in the chat, I just posted 3 articles there. I'm going to start doing a great reads of the week section, and this is going to be stuff that we don't have time to get to in the show, and I'll post the links in the chat. So look for us on Zero Gravity Media on YouTube, and you can find those links there. One is a letter that Paul Revere wrote about the revolution. That is a fascinating read. One is about fighting critical race theory. That is the City Journal piece. And the other conservative treehouse piece is Maganomics versus Obamonomics. And it is a very long piece, but a really good read. So take a look at those if you have some time. We don't have time to get into it in this show. I hope you understand, but you definitely got time to study yourself. So brush up. Kidding. All right. So dear listener, there another narrative collapsed this week, and this is some really interesting stuff. Okay. A big narrative collapsed this week. It was about the death of Officer Brian Sicknick. Okay. He was the Capitol Police officer who was killed by the insurrectionists because he was bludgeoned by a fire extinguisher and died because the Trump insurrectionists killed him, right? It was a critical piece of the insurrectionist narrative. It's what it was, okay? It was absolutely blown out of the water. I've got a Glenn Greenwald piece here from Substack. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to read a couple of tweets of his instead. He went on an epic tweet rant, okay? Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, who engaged rioters, suffered 2 strokes and died of natural causes, officials say. Francisco J. Diaz, the medical, well, he lays out the proof here. You know what? Let me put this Twitter thread in the comments as well, so you can go. It's a great read, worth every bit of your time. But it's a lot of tweets. So there's the Twitter thread from which I read right now. Okay. Just look at this short excerpt of how we drowned in a totally false story for a full month, one that was crucial to the narrative because only Sicknick could be said to have been killed by deliberate violence by pro-Trump protesters. Watch. Now, dear listener, keep in mind, Glenn Greenwald is a liberal. He is a liberal. And just like Naomi Wolf, he's one of these liberals that is starting to see through all this shit going on right now, being like, oh, man, this is the wrong way to go. The Biden agenda, right? The cultural agenda, all of it, right? And he's calling it out for what it is. I'm going to go on with another tweet down the stack. The corporate media lies to you constantly because they only care about pleasing the political ideology and flattering the preconceptions of their audience. Substack and similar platforms allow truth to be aired, which is why they hate them. There's no such thing as a noble lie, especially in journalism. This particular fabrication made its way into the impeachment trial against Trump and out of Joe Biden's mouth. It was clear from the start it was highly dubious, but few journalists cared. It served its purpose. I'll give an hour amnesty to all groupthink drones in corporate media who smeared everyone expressing doubts about the Sicknick fire extinguisher story as a Sicknick truther. Come forward voluntarily, honorably, confront your latest in-group propaganda. Genius. All right. All the evidence was there from the start that the media lie, which emanated from the NYT and then became unquestioned truth, like the Russia bounty story. Like Nick Sandman, what were the what kids, Luke? Damn it. They all went to
Covington Catholic kids.
Yeah, like the Covington kids, right? Unquestioned narrative, right? But anyone who flagged these was accused of being a pro-insurrectionist, fascist, so journalists clung to the lie. Dim party loyalists pretending to be journalists is what's killing journalism. This is what they do to anyone who questions their lies. You have to not only have contempt for these people, but be lucky enough so that their pitiful tactics don't affect you. And he has now retweeted Josh Marshall. It was my professional obligation to read Glenn's insurrection coddling thread, and holy crap, it's as much bullshit as you would have imagined. He's a full-on sick-nick truther. Sad. Well, Mr. Josh Marshall, turns out that Glenn Greenwald was true. Now, dear listener, okay, I can go on with Glenn Greenwald's tweets. First of all, I've never seen the man be wrong, ever. He always calls the balls and strikes accurately, even if they don't fit his particular political leanings. He still calls it out accurately, right? Because the man believes in the truth. But here is what was going on here, dear listener. This was the cudgel that they absolutely beat Donald Trump down with about causing the insurrection. It caused a death of a Capitol Police officer. Dear listener, it was a lie. We now know it was a lie. The man, poor thing, man, he died from strokes. 2 strokes, massive strokes in his brainstem, okay? He had no signs of bludgeoning. He had no signs of bear spraying. Remember, that's what they did, what the DOJ did. And looking at you, Chris Wray, at the FBI as well. They pivoted from the bludgeoning when they realized that wasn't going to stick to the fact that he was bear sprayed and chemically poisoned. That's not what happened. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. And we now have a forensic pathologist that has come out and said so. It was a lie in order to hang impeachment around the head of Donald Trump and insurrectionists around you and you, Luke, and me, right? This poor man died. Oh my God, dear listener, it wasn't true. This is, if I may, I'm no legal scholar, I'm no lawyer. This is not only negligent, it is criminal. This is criminal narrative fabrication, right? For political ends. We know that they do this, okay? We've always known that they do this, but here is the thing, dear listener, this narrative collapsed, and we now have proof of what a bunch of horseshit it was. And the thing I find really disgusting about it, his parents begged them, please don't politicize the death of our son. We think he died from a stroke, okay? And there's all kinds of other weird shit that went on in the timeline of this, dear listener. A lot of weird shit, okay? But the parents were like, please, we love him. Don't politicize him. They did anyway. There is no depth to which these people will not sink, dear listener. Listen to Rachel Maddow in the audio break, right? This is what they do. I know that this seems self-evident, right? But what we're doing is documenting it, number one, and we are developing a case file right here in these hallowed halls, dear listener, if I may say, which I do. And we're going to remember the next time they try some of this bullshit like they did with the Covington kids, we're going to remember the Russia hoax, right? Spygate. We're getting a pretty strong case file together about false narratives. And dear listener, I would really like for an attorney to reach out to either Luke or I and offer your opinion about whether or not it's criminal, because it really does seem like slander and libel to me at the very least. So just saying. So that's all I got on it, Luke. Just a little bit of a rant, but
I know it's all good, dude.
Yeah. I wanted it in our hallowed halls because the whole thing is just disgusting, right? And we got to call this shit out. So yeah,
Indeed. Yep.
Yep. So, all right, what's on your mind, man? What else you got?
That's it, dude. That's it on my side.
Well, how we doing on time? Where are we at?
2 hours.
2 hours.
Well, 1 hour 53. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. We did climate change, got the Arizona audit, I think, pretty well covered. Dear listener, I've got some interesting stuff going on about, I'm raising the question now formally about whether or not Donald Trump is going to run again in 2024. I believe that he is. I believe that there is one question in play right now, and that is his health. So we'll just leave that on the table. The America First Caucus has been created by Marjorie Taylor Greene. And who was the other one that did it? It was Matt Gaetz. Yeah, Matt Gaetz, who is being quiet right now because he's having a political run taken at him. We'll leave that on the table. But already the cucks, the Kevin McCarthys in the House, are trying to expel them from Congress because they started the America First Caucus. Okay, this is not a pro-Trump caucus. They happen to be pro-Trump, right? It is an America First Caucus, right? Similar to the Freedom Caucus, right? But neither of them are in the Freedom Caucus, so they're starting their own caucus, okay? Oh, man. Oh man, Luke. Okay, I wanted to talk to you about this. We could spend our last couple minutes on this if you're cool with it. Matthew
Sure, man.
McConaughey, man. What are you hearing? What are you hearing?
Nothing. I haven't heard anything since we talked about him last.
Yeah, I saw a poll. I believe it was the Texas Tribune poll. He's leading Greg Abbott 45-33. If he runs, he wins. That's the bottom line, man. And I'm not sure that's a good thing, but that's what happens, And am I correct in saying that we called it first? I believe that we did we not? I know he was on some morning shows and stuff like that, but I believe we called it first. Did we not?
That is something about which I don't know if we called it first, but
yeah.
I mean, again, who really cares? Greg Abbott's useless.
He is.
Matthew McConaughey will be, I don't know. I mean, it's not as if he's going to come out and be like, all right. We capitalists pro freedom now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're right. Caitlyn Jenner is running, Mike. You're absolutely right. She is. I got a hoot out of that, but man, she's kind of running as a centrist, right? I expected her to kind of come out guns blazing leftist, but she's not. She's running kind of centrist.
You can't be politically gendered. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. How did I not think of that? Of course.
That's totally natural. If anything, it should be libertarian. Libertarian is like the tranny of politics.
Yeah. Can I quote you on that? Can I quote you on that? Is that cool? I'll give you credit, man. I promise. Oh, Lord have mercy. You heard it here first, dear listener. Luke did it. So, dear listener, I've just put another article up into the chat. It's a National Pulse piece written by Natalie Winters. It is very illuminating. It's about journalists who have been in bed with the Chinese Communist Party for a very long time, one of which is named is Fareed Zakaria at CNN. Go look at it, right? They have been conscripted and paid by the Chinese Communist Party to put out pro-China, China-favorable articles, video pieces, all of this. And they proved it. The National Pulse did. It's a huge piece. We will be following that story. You believe this. And I don't know, Luke, I've got other stuff, man, but I think we good. What do you think?
Yeah, let's call it, dude.
All right. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. You want to run us through my socials real fast?
Yeah. Before we get out of here, you can find us on zerogravitymedia.locals.com. If you do want to financially support the show, you can. At some point, ostensibly in the future, there will be a time at which we can get our shit together to receive the payment.
Yeah, there's that. That's on me, by the way, dear listener. That's on me. So yeah,
it's all good. I'm getting spammed by Striped to. You've got so-and-so dollars in your account ready. And, it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the money's there. So if you want to financially support the show, do it on zerogravitymedia.locals or zerogravitymedia.locals.com. You can find everything we do on YouTube. Just search Zero Gravity Media. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Zero Gravity Med. And you can find our audio on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
All on Zero Gravity Media. I have to struggle. I have to consciously struggle to not say the platform which shall not be named.
I do too, man.
Because it's so ingrained in me. We did it for like 100 shows.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Same here. Yeah. Yep.
All right, dude. Yeah. Well, you want to take us out?
All right. Yeah, let's ride. All right, dear listener, we are going to pitch camp. We are going to pass around a bottle. We're going to share some food. We're going to enjoy each other's company. Dear listener, let me tell you something. Gird your loins this week, okay? Put the battle armor on. You're going to be called a racist. You're going to be called a sexist. You're going to be called xenophobic. You're going to be called QAnon conspiracy theorist. You're going to be called insurrectionist. All of these insults cometh your way because of the terror happening in Arizona right now. Do not be discouraged. Be good to yourselves. Go ahead.
And they're going to ask you about your medical history.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, why don't you have your mask on? Have you had the vaccine yet?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They expect this to increase in frequency. Definitely, dear listener. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Anyways.
ask them about the yeah. If it's a woman, ask her about her last gynecology appointment. If it's a man, ask him. I don't know. Maybe ask him if he wants to be. After you discuss whether you've had a vaccine, if he wants to be colonoscopy bros.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
get colonoscopies together, and then discuss it afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. 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 Sit in the office together and, share tables next to each other while it's done and all of this. So yeah.
Yeah, it's afterwards we can discuss how sore our assholes are. Is your asshole sore? Since we're on this level, talking about each other's medical history, you may as well talk about that.
Yeah. I think actually, you know what, Luke, you did convince me in that first piece. I was like, this isn't my fight. I'm not gonna. No, man, I think you're right. I think I'm gonna start bringing the heat now. You know what I mean? I think I am. So, because I'm just the more I think about it, the more it pisses me off. You heard? So yeah. So, no, you did, man. Good work. So
good, because I would be if I were there. I'm disappointed. I'm sad. I want to fly there just so I can not wear a mask and ridicule people for asking about it. I want to do that just so I can fuck people up. I think I don't know, man. I think I enjoy that too much. Like,
maybe, but
it's
funny when you do it though. So.
My great uncle, it was my grandpa's uncle, shot a woman in the neck.
Oh, you told me this, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shot a woman in the neck because she stole one of his calves in a bar. He saw her in a bar, found her in a bar. She stole one of his calves. He found her in a bar. This was in Texas. Found her in a bar and then shot her, but he missed her and only hit her in the neck, not the head. And he got off scot-free and then later became the sheriff of the town.
Yeah.
Those are the days that I want to live in.
Yeah, totally right. Totally.
Yeah. I was like, damn, that's based in Red Pilled right there.
It is. It pretty much is,
based
man.
As fuck.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, dear listener, let's pitch camp. Let's set up. All right, let's rest the horses. Good ride this week. Hope you enjoyed it as much as Luke and I did. Luke and I are going to be back at you on time and under budget before you know it next weekend for episode number 125. Be good to yourselves. Be ready this week. Be ready. All right. Reach out if you need some consolation. Luke and I are always here for you, and take care of each other on this trail as well. We will see you next weekend, dear listener. Have a wonderful week. And Luke, you take care of yourself, brother. All right.
All right. Yeah. You too, man. Likewise.
All right. Be in touch.
All right. Peace.